Hey everyone, Anthony here, AFT Dog Training. Today's topic, if you know me and we've gone through consultations and stuff, I provide veterinarians literature. I bring out books during the consultation to show you and talk to you about what dog training tools do, what the veterinarians say, what veterinarian chiropractors say about the training tools, not some veterinarian that has no knowledge in dog training. There are many veterinarians, they're good at being a veterinarian, but they have no knowledge in dog training. Veterinarians send their dogs to me and my team for their dogs to be trained. Okay? So, if you're running into, I've had it where a client, comes in and like, after the first or second session, we work with a martingale prong collar, and I'm like, do this. I see my veterinarian, they said not to use this prong collar. And I say, well, I'm the dog trainer, and I know as a fact, I know more than your veterinarian does about dog training. Your veterinarian knows more about the medical needs of a dog, knows how to do a surgery, does not know how to dog train. That tool's going back on the dog. And I'm going to tell you, I want your veterinarian to look up these other veterinarians so that you can learn a thing or two from other veterinarians. Not veterinarians that are on boards and get paid to write articles and peer-driven stuff so that they are writing books on positive-only force-free propaganda so they make money. Just veterinarians. That's what we're looking for. So this is Pet MD. It's veterinary written, veterinary reviewed, and this is written by Megan Sullivan back, and it's recent, it's 2017, on the dangers of a dog harness. Now there's proper dog harnesses, do not get me wrong. When you're doing search and rescue, even protection, bite work, police, canines even have harnesses so you can suitcase them. You can use them as an agitator as well. Your regular pet household harness has little training value but to train your dog to pull, unless you're going to inflict positive punishment and pain for your dog not to pull if you're going off of the device. So that's why they call the device a no-pull harness, because it's designed for the dog not to pull. So here we go. We're going to read this article together, and this is what I always talk about in every consultation. But I just happened to Google and come across this article as the first one I Googled on harness injury. So if you go to Google, okay, I'm going to show you real quick. And you type in harness injury. Dog harness injury. Look at all this. This is not something I'm making up. Positive only forceful trainers would be like, nah, not part of my agenda. Don't want to hear it. Bye bye. See you later. I don't care what science says. I don't care what veterinarians say. Propaganda. Pet Professional Guild, same thing. Propaganda. I don't care what they say. All right. So we're going to read this article. Whether you already use a harness for your dog or you're considering making the switch from a traditional collar and leash, there's plenty to take into consideration. There are major different types of harnesses available, says Victoria Shade, a dog trainer and author based in Pennsylvania. Some help curb pulling a habit with positive punishment. Some are better for the comfort of the dog, and some are all about the fashion over function, which, some people force that thing on the dog. I think a few years ago it was like national news. They were trying to put some kind of harness buckle sweater thing on the dog, and it killed the family member. The dog didn't want the harness on him. All right. The risks and benefits of using a harness can depend on the type of harness, your dog's breed, and activity level, and the proper use of the device. Here's what the experts have to say about dog harness safety. Potential risks of dog harnesses. If a harness doesn't fit well and a dog pulls hard on the leash, there is some potential for a chest injury, says Dr. Susan C. Nelson, a clinical professor at the Veterinarian Health Center at Kansas State University. If your dog is pulling on the harness, I'm going to say that again, chest injury, okay? A halter with a back clip as opposed to a front clip may be better for, I'm sorry, I'm going to butcher this, brachycephalic, short-nosed dogs, small breeds, and dogs with trachea collapse or other trachea issues. This is because front clip harnesses may put too much pressure, pain, on the throat region when the dog pulls on the leash, Nelson says. Dr. Nelson says. Alright, so this is the pain training that Petco supports. Remember Petco? They think you're a complete moron and an idiot. If you click on here, Petco, stop the shock, they're banning remote collar. Positive reinforcement training. Really? Doctors are saying that you're not doing positive reinforcement training. Because if you're using a harness in that class, it looks like you're using pain. And if you're removing a treat from a dog, you're using negative punishment. And if you're using a leash to guide the dog at all, you're using negative reinforcement. And if you stop the dog from pulling in one direction to go in another, you're using positive punishment. And this is the science. We're going to continue. So this Dr. Nelson says that the front clip harness causes pain to stop the pulling. Shade notes that a harness does not, by definition, decrease pulling unless it is specifically designed to address the problem. Ask yourself, what does that mean? What do you mean specifically designed? How? Oh, that it has some kind of magic potion that when the dog pulls? No. It contracts around the dog to cause pain to stop the pulling. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to sit in here and explain this. You know, I could very well have my 5-year-old daughter come in here and she'll understand this just as well. Alright, that's why you have to step back from your pride. If you're a positive only force-free dog trainer, and say, oh, okay, let's hear him out. Let's actually, maybe we should read up on this stuff on our own. Because I got into it with the guy harassing my friend. Told me that wearing a harness is negative punishment on a dog. Positive only dog trainer. Force-free, actually. Their page said force-free. So that means that they're using a harness, using pain, calling it force-free, and lying and thinking you're a complete moron into believing it. So I don't think you're an idiot. Alright, I think you're smart. I think if somebody called themselves force-free, you would say, wait a minute, that doesn't exist for anything on this planet. Why is the dog an exception? That's like trying to say you're training a horse force-free. Look at all the tools on the horse. It's like it's not happening. Whew, I can go on all day. So, front hook harnesses, on the other hand, can affect the dog's natural gait, hinder shoulder movement. Wow, look at this doctor, clinical professor, Dr. Susan Nelson. This is what she's saying. Front hook harnesses can affect the dog's natural gait and hinder shoulder movement. I have an 8-month-old French Bulldog we're training right now. Needs ACL surgery. Watch the video. That's why I videotape scientifically back up all the dog training. And you'll see the video why that dog needs ACL surgery. It stinks. I wish, I talked to the owner. I wish they would have came before they would have put that harness on her. But that's why she needs that surgery. Nelson says that these particular harnesses may not be a good choice for dogs who engage in athletic activities. This is the front hook harness that we're going to talk about that Victoria Stilwell says is positive. and she's an ambassador for the Pet Professional Guild, who inflicts pain with her training tool that she sells. Conflict of interest to me, right? Sorry, it's late. I'm drinking coffee, tired, but I want to get this information out to you. Harnesses that go around the muzzle, also known as a head halter, can present a unique challenge because few dogs easily adjust to them. Shade says, this is so true, man. I agree. I don't care if they're a force-free dog trainer or whatever. It's true. A gentle leader or a head halter, the dog will put up a fight and whip around and do things like you've seen where you have to train the dog to do it. You don't do what Victoria Stilwell did and just put it on a Great Dane and severely whip their head around on a leash. I don't know why animal control wasn't called on her, but that's the hypocrisy of the force-free positive-only dog movement. They don't police their own. I'll continue. Don't get me fired up. Most do not enjoy the sensation. Wow, this is one of the most honest people here, Shade. Harnesses that go around the muzzle, also known as a head halter, can present a unique challenge because few dogs can easily adjust to them, Shade says. I think Shade is the dog trainer. Most do not enjoy the sensation and fight it by pawing at their nose, rolling on the ground, and rubbing their face on the person's leg. Additionally, if the dog races ahead and is jerked back, it might injure its neck. Remember the screenshots here? I want to show you that, because that's important to see that. Alright, hold on, where's it at? So that is exactly, see how Victoria's still on this thing right here? Prong collar, she hates them, throws them away, says they're ineffective. That's a lie. That's a lie. The prong collar is the safest dog training tool. This is her with this dog. I'm not sure if they're going to show it in this video. Yeah, they might. So Victoria Stilwell, this is a mind-blowing video to me. I'm not sure why the Pet Professional Guild would think this is a great dog training. So she just throws a gentle leader on the dog without conditioning him, and she throws a muzzle. She never conditions the dog for a muzzle. Ever. She just puts it on this dog. Look at this dog. Alright, let me just walk by another dog. The dog's already leash reactive. Watch how she severely injures this dog. I don't know what the laws are there, but I don't know why animal control wasn't called. Surely the positive only force-free people. If you throw a cotton towel at a dog, surely this here you would get in trouble, and it's on the front page. There should be front page of this right there. That is more pain than a cotton towel thrown at a dog. And it's done on purpose and out of spite, anger, and rage from Victoria Stilwell because she couldn't train that dog with a treat in that episode. So she was relying on the gentle leader to injure the dog. We're going to go back to the article. That's how much I can continue on. It's just the fact and the science that shows that force-free does not exist. This is not positive. There's nothing positive about this. This is positive punishment. That is called a correction. This is not negative reinforcement. Shade notes that the harnesses, unless it's specifically designed. Oh yeah, this is where she says that. Additionally, if the dog races ahead and is jerked back, it might injure its neck. That's what Shade's talking about with Victoria Stilwell here. And there was a bunch of them with Zach George as well, doing the same very abusive dog training. Nelson agrees with this caution, but notes that with proper training, head halters can work well for many dogs. And I use a canine lifeline, which is a halter. I do like using them depending on the dog. I let the dog have say in the training. All right. It allows them to have their head, thus eyes, redirected and focused on their owner for training. And you're using pressure for that. It's negative reinforcement. Sleeping in a harness is potentially risky because it could get caught on something like the dog's crate and become a choking hazard. Dr. Nelson adds, it can also be uncomfortable for a harness to be on 24/7. True. I was the vice president of an animal shelter. Because of my back surgeries and stuff, I resigned until I can come back on because I can't put my full effort in. But I was vice president. I've been on that board since 2012. We had a dog come in with the harness so tight the skin was almost growing over it. Is anybody saying to ban harnesses? When you see a prong collar picture and there's like holes in the dog's neck, that's from somebody putting a prong collar on him as a puppy and the dog grew into it. Alright? Same thing with the harness when that dog came in to our shelter. Alright, so the agenda though on the force repositive side is they use that image to dupe you into thinking you're a moron and an idiot into believing that the prong collar made those holes in the neck. We're here to provide science and facts. The Pet Professional Guild wants you to believe that you're an idiot and a moron too, because they promote that type of image where the prong collar did not make holes in the dog's neck. It was from someone putting the collar on and never taking it off, just like somebody would do with this harness. We'll continue. In addition, pet parents should not leave a wet harness on their dog for a long period of time. Skin infection, as it can cause skin infection. If I was just Dr. K, Preserve, I'm sorry. My last name's long, so. But yeah, the harnesses could cause severe rashes under the arms too. If you ever seen that on your dog from wearing a harness, from the constant rubbing, chafing. We all had that, not to get graphic, but you're out swimming in the ocean stuff. We get chafing. Everybody gets it on their legs sometimes. That happens to the dog from the harness. Choosing the right harness for you. A well-fitted harness won't gap, pull, chafe. I just said chafing. I haven't read this whole thing yet. Or otherwise irritate the dog and will stay put with minimal movement as the dog walks. This is where when people come in for prong collar fittings and stuff, I have to explain to them how snug in the fitting is key. They're talking about how snug that harness should be. The trainer Shade says, sorry. A properly fitted harness also won't cause rolls of skin to bunch up around the dog's neck or shoulders, which indicate that it's too tight. And when you take the harness off, you shouldn't see indentations in the fur where the harness sat. If you see the dog we're training now, Snoopy, his wasn't tight, but he was pulling so much. There's indentations in his body still 2 days after we removed it. So, and again, it's all on video. Pet parents with barrel-chested dogs, like English bulldogs, boxers, and pit bulls, might have a tougher time finding a harness that fits properly. Comfort is key when it comes to finding the right fit. Some harnesses either fit these breeds too tightly around the chest or shoulders, or rub under their arms as the dog walks, Shade says. To ensure that the fit is not too tight or too loose, you should be able to fit 2 fingers snugly between the harness and your dog, which is pretty much how we do with the prong collar, If using a harness on a young growing dog, Nelson recommends checking the fit frequently to be sure your puppy has not outgrown it. Most standard harnesses don't require special training, but some dogs do need to acclimate when switching from leash attached at the collar to a harness, Shade says. This can be especially true if the harness is tricky to put on. Pet parents can set themselves up to succeed by using treats to ease the process, she says. Reward the dog for standing calmly every step of the way as the harness is put on. And that's what I was saying. Some dogs don't like the harness, man. That family was killed. It was like national news. I think it mauled the entire family trying to put the harness on. The greatest risk of an ill-fitted harness is the dog slipping out of it during a walk. And this happens more often than not. It happens a lot of times. All right. Even if it's fitted well, the dog will sneak out of that harness. Back right out of it. Some dog body shapes don't mesh well with certain harness types. For example, your dog may be able to wiggle out if he has a deep chest, think Great Dane or Doberman, and the shoulder to chest ratio in a harness creates too much slack. Some no-pull harnesses have a design flaw in which the chest piece slips down when the leash is taut, which means a determined puller can slip free, Shade says. For this reason, your dog should always wear identification tags, especially if he is an escape artist. In general, it is still better for dogs to wear a collar with some type of identification in case they get lost. Nelson says, pet parents who are worried about the risk of their dog getting hung up by his collar can purchase one with a breakaway feature. But this is just another article talking about, the back on track, the pain and pressure that harnesses cause and dangers, potential risks, the injuries to the chest. Dr. Kamen goes into more details in the pages he does write about it, you know. But now let's watch some videos real quick before I wrap this up. I'm going to have the sound off, but here we go. Excuse me. So this is Victoria Stilwell trying to persuade you as a salesperson that she wants you to buy the positively no-pull harness. She wants you to buy the square tire for your car, okay? She has a square tire to sell you. And she's going to tell you it's round now. So here we go. Here she's explaining now. Look at this dog that she's working with. If you're guessing of an age, write in the comments if you're watching this. How old do you think this dog is? And do you think this is your typical dog that's going to be putting on this harness? In all reality, think hard. Think sincerely. In all reality, do you think that this dog here is going to be your typical dog owner wearing this harness? So she goes on to explaining the two connections. The front clip that causes pain to the dog's shoulders, fact, science, not up for debate. And the back clip to have little control to your dog at all. Now, I think her back clip still pulls on the dog's shoulders. So that would mean that there's still pressure, so it would be pain as well. But she's going to sell it in a positive way. It's a positive way. So this is her selling it, and then we're going to go, I wanted to show you what, this dog too. Come on, guys. Do you, in all honesty and sincerely, believe that this dog here wasn't fully trained before putting this collar on? Go to my YouTube channel and watch us train dogs with training tools, and they're walking like this, but it's on video on how they came in and how they, once we started training with tools, how they're, it's like by the, you see the sessions, and you'll see it live sometimes. Sometimes I'll go live right on YouTube. We never got a chance to see how this dog was before. So she's acting like she just put this on the dog, and this is how well they're walking. And she still has negative reinforcement. Anytime there's tension on the leash, scientifically, factually, it's not up for debate. It is negative reinforcement or positive punishment. That was negative reinforcement. So she wasn't using positive punishment there. Going to stop that. Now, this is Zach George's. This is Zach George? I don't know which one this is.
I have 2 points.
This was just a company. Again, they're showing the dogs beforehand, which is awesome. And then they're pulling. And let's see them not pull. And which is cool. I appreciate that. I haven't seen this yet. So I think they're doing that. If they're showing the after and before, I love that. Thank you for showing it. But I want you to know why the dog's not pulling. The veterinarians told you right here. The pressure / pain. Force-free dog trainers and positive-only dog trainers don't like when we say the word pressure or use the word force or stim or tend unit. All right, so we gotta then call it for what it is for them then too, right? Can't be cafeteria dog trainers owners, right? Yeah, so right there, the dog's still pulling ahead. They cut it. It's edited. The videos you see on my channel, unless it's like a board and train program, I try to put together a movie for a board and train program. It just goes like they're long videos, but you might just see it playing. And it's not like I'm editing out this stuff like that. Boom, boom, boom. So you see how it tightens up, but it's in a positive way. Hope this person watching's an idiot and a moron, so I can dupe them. Come on. I know you're not. I know you guys aren't idiots or morons, man. I know you're smart. See? It tightens up, but we're going to call this positive reinforcement. That's not true. Science says, the very science that Petco is saying to ban the shock collars is the same science I'm talking about here with this harness. And this is negative reinforcement and positive punishment. Fact. The science Petco is selling you, positive reinforcement. Where's the rest of the quadrants? They're lying. We believe in the power of positive reinforcement. All dog trainers do. All human teachers do. All of them. They're teaching kids and training kids in the classroom using the same learning theory as we're using with the dogs. Believe me, if the child gets up from the desk enough times, they're coming over and they're going to go to your desk and grab their hand, put them there. If they're acting up still, someone's coming to remove them physically. Negative reinforcement or positive punishment. They're rewarding them most of the time for the things that they're teaching them, like we do in dog training. All dog trainers do it. Petco wants you to think that you're a moron and that there is no other quadrants, and they're only using this one quadrant. They used to say that about SeaWorld. You don't hear positive-only force-free dog trainers say that and use the word anymore, but you would see it all the time. Look at our training the whales and dolphins in SeaWorld. You balanced dog trainers, see, you only need the positive reinforcement quadrant. And if you believe that, go check out that documentary called Blackfish. And I think that's why SeaWorld is closed. The whales and the dolphins started killing their trainers because they were starving them and using a ton of positive punishment and abuse for the mammals to perform. And then all of a sudden you started hearing crickets from the positive and force-free movement. So I just wanted to post about the dangers of a harness. This is just one article, but if you do go to Google and you type in dog harness injury, come on. Do you think this is in here just because Google has some kind of secret agenda to just pop up right now? I mean, come on. But this is the reality, man. So this is why we let the dog have say in the training tool. We want clear communication to the dog. So this is why I'm huge proponents in our training program, and the evidence speaks for itself. Prong collar or remote collar or martingale or canine lifeline. Those are pretty much the tools that we use, along with treats, praise, positive reinforcement, and a leash. When you have a leash on a dog, regardless of what tools attached, negative reinforcement and positive punishment are the only quadrants that are used during that time. So anytime you have a leash on the dog, that's a fact. It's based on science. And nobody can argue that with me. So that is as clear as day. If I ask you what 2 plus 2 equals, the answer is 4. There's no questioning it. That is the answer. So if you're going to use the term science, this is only for when you're using the term science at all, or positive reinforcement or force-free. If you're using those terms, when you have a leash to the dog, your science, the very science you're speaking of, when you have a leash on a dog, I don't care what's attached, is negative reinforcement or positive punishment. Facts, science, not up for debate. Just as clear as day as 2 plus 2 equals 4. But if you're using a harness, there are dangers to it. And I will not train a dog that's wearing a harness because it has zero training value. That's actually a quote from Dr. Kamens. He's a world-known veterinary chiropractor, from his book on harnesses. Harnesses have little training value, end quote. So I use that quote. It's not mine, it's his. But I also agree with him. So when we're training a dog, I want clear communication with the dog, and you will see that in the latest videos that we've been posting. Dogs on harnesses, you'll see the same day, same session, clear communication with a martingale. Look at the difference. The science speaks for itself. Do not let Petco think you're an idiot or a moron. I know after listening to what I just showed you, it gets your mind thinking, and start removing that pride, force-free, positive-only dog trainers, and start looking at the facts and the science. If you're going to use them, if you do not want to use the science anymore, then don't use the terms. Make up your own science. You can't use the word science. I'm sorry. Just say that you're force-free or positive-only, and it's not science-backed. My dog training is science-backed. I do use the quadrants. All right, everyone, have a nice day. Stay tuned. I have more videos coming out. I gotta figure out how to turn this thing off now. Every time. Here we go. I got some programs running, so it's taking a little longer than usual. But this is when you're not completely computer savvy. So there we go. I spoke to you guys for half an hour. Have a nice day, everyone.